Okay, new topic or speed, distance, time. Okay, first of all, quickly go through some time conversion. This is pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but I just need to go through it because remember, 1 hour is 60 minutes, not 100 minutes. Okay, because still in year 11 people make that mistake. Okay, because 15 minutes, people still put that as a decimal as 0.15 hours. That is not correct, remember, okay? Because 1 hour is 60 minutes, so 15 minutes as a fraction of an hour, so is 15 out of 60, and that simplifies, of course, to a quarter of an hour, okay? So a quarter of an hour. I need to put hour there. So if we've got to have quarter of an hour as a decimal, that's not going to be 0.15, is it? It's going to be 0.25, because 0.25 is a quarter, isn't it? So 90 minutes is, of course, more than 60 minutes. So it's 1 hour and 30 minutes, or 1.5 hours, or 1.5 hours, you could say. Okay, pretty relevant for when we're doing speed calculations. Okay, third of an hour, of course, that is a third of 60. So 1/3 of 60 will, of course, be 20 minutes. 3/8 of an hour. Okay, so if we were to divide that 60 by 8 to get 1/8 of an hour first, 8 into 6 goes 0, remainder 6. 8 into 60 goes 7. Yes, 7. With a remainder of 4. Yep, that's right. Sorry. And 8 into 40 goes 5 times. Okay, so 1/8 of an hour is 7.5 minutes, 7.5 minutes. Times that by 3, and you're going to get how many minutes 3/8 of an hour is going to be. So 7.5 times 3 would be 22.5 minutes. So 22.5 minutes, 22 minutes and 30 seconds. I hope that's right. Yeah, it's right. Good. Okay, now over to you. Have a go at these. Pause the video now. Get your notebook out. This last one I want in a fraction and a decimal as well. So give it your best shot. Pause it now, and I'll go through the answers. Now, right, so 3/4 of an hour. You should know that. 1/4 of an hour is 15 minutes, so 3/4 of an hour is 45 minutes. 40 minutes in hours. So 40 out of 60 would simplify to 2/3. Okay, 1/6 of an hour. What's 1/6 of 60? That's, of course, going to be 10 minutes. 105 minutes. So take off 1 lot of 60. That is going to be 1. Okay, and then what's the left over going to be? It's going to be 45 minutes. So 1 3/4 hours. Okay, 0.1 hours. So 0.1 is a tenth, isn't it? So 60 times 0.1 gives you 6 minutes. Okay, 18 minutes in hours as a fraction. So 18 out of 60 simplifies to 3/10. What's 3/10 as a decimal? 0.3. Okay, should be pretty straightforward for you guys. Right, now speed, distance, time calculations. First of all, let's have a look at these. That is, of course, something that you should be pretty familiar with by now. Distance is on top, speed and time are on the bottom, okay? Whenever you need to work out something, you cover something up. If you're working out distance, cover it up. You do speed next to time, speed times time. Cover up time, if you're trying to work that out, and it's distance over speed. So distance divided by speed, and so on. Okay? Make sure you get it this way around. It's never the S on top. Never ever the S on top. Okay, it is the D on top. Okay, don't giggle if you giggled at that. Well, I'm not going to tell you what to do, am I? Right. So what we got here? Speed is 50 miles an hour. Distance we're trying to work out. The time is 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay. not that useful in that time, is in that format. So let's turn that into, we could turn that into 2.5 hours. Okay, makes it a lot easier, I think. Some people work better in decimals, some people work better in fractions. We're not going to use percentages here because that's stupid, isn't it? So if we're working out distance, we're going to do speed times time. Speed times time. We're going to do 50 times by 2.5. 50 times 2 is, of course, 100. 50 times 0.5 is 25. So it's going to be 125 what? Well, 1,000 miles per hour. This was in hours. So distance is not going to be in kilometres if it's in miles per hour, so it's going to be in miles. Okay. Next up, distance is 42 kilometres, the time is 40 minutes, the speed is what we're trying to find out. I'm not going to use a calculator for this, okay? So we're trying to find out speed. Speed is distance divided by time. So we're going to be doing 42 divided by 40 minutes. You never see speed in minutes, do you? In kilometres per minute. You want it in hours. So we're going to turn that 40 minutes into 2/3 of an hour. That's 2/3 of an hour. So we're doing 42 divided by 2/3. I don't like it written like that, actually, thinking about it. 42 divided by 2/3. What happens when you divide by a fraction? You do keep, change, flip. Keep. Now it's not a fraction. Let's turn it into a fraction. 42 divided by 1. Keep, change, flip. 42 times 3. So 40 times 3 is 120. 2 times 3 is 6. So 126 and over 2. 126 divided by 2 is 63. That's kilometres. 2/3 is 2/3 of an hour. So it's going to be kilometres per hour. Okay, just going to go through that once more. Okay, first of all, we got the information of 42 kilometres and 40 minutes. Okay, we worked out, if we're trying to find out speed, it's distance divided by time. Okay, so we're doing distance, 42 kilometres, divided by time, which is the 40 minutes. Don't like it in minutes. We've turned it into hours. So 42 divided by 2/3 of an hour. 42, keep, change, flip. And I've done 42 times 3, 1 times 2, and then I've simplified this. Okay, that will be our answer in kilometres per hour. Right, distance, 5 kilometres. Speed is 15 kilometres an hour. What is the time in minutes this time? We're kind of doing the opposite of what we did here. We're trying to find time. Time is distance divided by speed. Distance divided by speed. Distance divided by speed. So we're doing 5 divided by 15. So we could write it like that, or we could write it like that. 5 divided by 15 comes out as 1/3 of an hour. That's in hours. We want it in minutes. What's 1/3 of an hour in minutes? You should know that. 60 divided by 3. That gives us 20 minutes. Okay. Right, over to you. You are going to have a go at some of these questions here. I've split it into calculator and non-calculator. First half is non-calculator. If you're doing anything here, I would advise doing it in... actually, it doesn't matter, really. You can do it in fractions, you can do it in decimals. Some are easier with fractions, some are easier with decimals, okay? I would say this one's probably easy with fractions. This one's actually probably easy with decimals. This one, completely up to you, I'd say. When it comes to the calculator ones, it is complete preference about what you want to put into your calculators, okay? The only thing that I would say, though, is when you are trying to put in a mixed number into your calculator, you do the shift fraction button, okay? So if you want 6.5 hours, you do it like this, okay? If you do 6.5, it just doesn't play ball at all in this one, in this case anyway. So shift and then the fraction button if you want a mixed number, okay? Pause it now. Right, let's go through. Right, so I'm going to use separate whiteboard to do any workings out on. Right, so speed 48 miles an hour, time 15 minutes. What is the distance? Okay, if we're trying to find out, oh, damn it, I made a mark on my carpet now. What an idiot. Where was I? So 48 miles an hour, and we're going to use we're trying to find out the distance. Distance is speed times time. So we're going to do 48 times by, are we going to times by 15? No, we're not going to times by 15, are we? We don't have miles per minute. We've got miles per hour there. What an idiot. I'm not calling you an idiot, am I? Right, so that is quarter of an hour. 48 times by a quarter. So quarter of 48 gives us 12. 12 what? That's miles per hour. That's minutes. We want it in distance. We want it as 12 miles. Gotta have your units, guys. Next up, trying to find out speed. So we're going to do distance divided by time. So we're going to do 200. What is with my spelling today? Spelling? Handwriting. 200 divided by 2.5. I don't like it written as 2.5. It's hard to do it like that. So let's do it 2.5. Some of you might be able to do that in your head. Some of you might prefer to get the old bus stop out. So 200 divided by 2.5. 2.5s into 2 goes 0 with a remainder of 2. 2.5s into 20. So 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15, 17.5, and 20. That's going to be 8. And then 2.5s into 0 goes 0. So that is going to be 80 what? Kilometers and hours. Kilometers per hour. Okay. Next up, we've got speed is 10 miles an hour, and the distance is half a mile. We're trying to find out time. Time is distance divided by speed. So distance divided by speed. So half a mile divided by 10 miles per hour. So what is a half divided by 10? Some of you might prefer to do it this way. 0.5 divided by 10, which is 0.05 miles per hour. Miles, 0.05 hours. Okay. If you want to turn that into minutes, times it by 60. Doesn't say it in the question that you've got to turn it into minutes, so I'm not going to bother. All right. Calculator ones now. We are going to do 88 miles an hour and then 0.2 miles. We're trying to find out time, which is distance divided by speed. So 0.2 divided by 88. Let's get our calculator out. 0.2 divided by 88 gives us, oh blimey, 0. So this gives us, my calculator's given it in standard form, but of course I can convert it from standard form in my head. 0.00227, and that is going to be in hours. Doesn't ask us for it in minutes. You can turn it into minutes if you want by timesing it by 60. Which is 0.136 minutes as well. Doesn't ask for that in the question, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, next up, 18 minutes. Distance is 5 kilometers. Trying to find out speed, which is distance divided by time. 5 divided by 18 minutes. We want that in hours though, don't we? Because we don't want kilometers per minute. You never see kilometers per minute. Okay, so 18 minutes. Luckily, we found that out earlier, didn't we? In fact, it's on the back of this. 18 minutes is 0.3 hours. 0.3 gives us 16.67. That's in kilometers. We want it in hours. Kilometers per hour. Okay. That's about 10 miles an hour, actually. Now, this last one. 100 meters in 9.58 seconds. We want the speed in kilometers per hour. Okay. Now, some of you might know this is actually the world record. This is what Usain Bolt ran his 100 meter world record in. Distance divided by time. 9.58 to start with. 100 divided by 9.58 gives us. Distance divided by time. Yeah, that is right. 10. Let's round it, 44 meters per second. That's in meters per second. Okay, we don't want it in meters per second. We want it in kilometers per hour. Okay, so let's turn it into kilometers per second for a start, shall we? So if we want to divide it by 1,000, divided by 1,000, that gives us in kilometers per second 0.01044 kilometers per second. But then we want it in hours. So first of all, we divide it by 1,000. Now we're going to times it by the number of seconds in an hour, which is not 60, it's 3,600. Okay, so times it by 3,600. That gives us, wow, 37.58 kilometers per hour, which is an insane speed. 37.58 kilometers per hour. That one is a really difficult one. Don't worry if you don't get that too much right now. Thank you very much. Hope this helped.